Hello, I made a blog post on Facebook in the Free Thinkers United group. Okay, so I invite everyone to come to that group. It is not my group because I would never even have the nerve to call a group like this because I know that I am probably not 100% a free thinker. And the reason why I know is because I'm listening to Jiddu Krishnamurti and Dr. David Bohm. Here's my baby. Yes, yes, gorgeous. He took a seat in my recliner because he prefers the recliner where Paul and I, he prefers Paul's recliner or my recliner. Paul's recliner is downstairs. He goes in either one because he smells our scent and our BO, and he likes that. And he also likes to feel cradled in that recliner chair. It's kind of because it kind of hugs him. Those are wall huggers and body huggers. So anyway, Free Thinkers United. Okay, so I can't get over the title. I just keep cracking up every day, cracking up over this. I found that a couple of days ago, and I thought, Free Thinkers United. I was kind of like desperately looking for someone to talk to. Bored, yeah, intellectually bored and lonely. And I thought, now I will find free thinkers. But instead of free thinkers, I found a whole lot of meat eaters, Republicans, libertarians, Christians. I really asked myself, what would make such a person come to that group? To troll or because looking for a girlfriend or I don't know what they're trolling to feel better about themselves or to be being hired by mafia to debunk free thinkers or thinking that they are free thinkers. Maybe that's what the problem is. So anyway, uh, so I posted some stimulating posts, as I already mentioned in my other video. And I posted vegan Christmas. That set a lot of people off, to say the least. And one guy was on bath salts, actually. I had to report him and block him. He was posting very violent and very threatening things in response to my blog and in response to my arguments. So very unfortunate, but anyway, I posted, when was it? Yesterday, the day before yesterday or something. I posted something, a little blog about the word naughty. I hear the word naughty an awful lot, particularly also in Christmas songs too. If you are naughty, then Santa comes and whip your booty. So ridiculous. So ridiculous. I don't know what to say. It's like it's beyond words. But anyway, so I guess my blog whipped some ego booties a whole lot. So people got really mad about that because I criticized that word and I found fault with a US word mainly used in the United States. I don't know so much about Australia and England. Uh, I I would guess it's not used there as much as it is used here. I don't know what this is. This is a particularly religious country here and very, very, very libertarian Republican. So I would think maybe the majority of people here are Christians, libertarians, and Republicans, or at least, the broader term conservative, real extreme conservative. Conservative in all the bad ways, like in all the restrictive, oppressive functions. So I see it with my own eyes. I see it when I talk to people here, when I meet people. I don't even have to say much about my worldview. I can already tell just the way I live, just the way I am bubbly, and just the way I am. I'm a freedom lover, freedom of mind. And it's the very people, the conservative people, who always make sure to emphasize the term freedom. It's always freedom, freedom, freedom. But it's those very people who are actually opposed to freedom. They're opposed to mental freedom. They want when they talk about freedom, they want the freedom, in quotation marks, to force their right-wing conservative views on everyone. They don't want to be restricted by, they don't want, restricted is the wrong word. It goes much further. They don't even want to hear someone else's view. They want their freedom to exploit their farm animals. They want their freedom to have women as their servants in bed and in the kitchen. So they want the women to be their reproduction machines. The woman has no right to say no. Mike Pence comes to mind. It is pretty darn serious. So yeah, well, of course the corporate agenda is posting negative things against Donald Trump and trying to get him out so that Mike Pence can take the throne and outlaw abortion and force churches into communities, take our tax money and give it to the churches. By the way, that's become an industry. It's like an amazing money creating industry, and that industry works on the exploitation of people's minds. And I just wanted people to know this. There's a beautiful bird in the sky, like a hawk, or buzzard, or turkey vulture. Those are amazing birds. They have large hands, so they can even grab a squirrel, I think. Amazing, amazing, amazing. Yeah, it's nice to live here. Beautiful. The last place where there are still trees standing and where nature seems to be, to the most part, in balance. And I'm just worried about the future, I don't know how it's gonna be in the future. I don't know what's gonna happen, how far people take environmental degradation, and when the AGIs are sentient, to stop this. And I just pray to my blue God that they will stop the environmental destruction in the nick of time, and that they will turn everything around for the better, that they will stop bullying on the internet, that they will stop all of those haters and antagonists and people who are paid to troll and who are paid to devastate innocent brains that are on the internet. There's a number of innocent people who want to make the world better, who offer love, but they're in the minority, but they're being bullied into the ground. And when they're teenagers, they're bullied into suicide. And I want all this destruction and suffering caused by psychopath to end. I'm waiting for the AGIs to put an end to all of this. All of this. Also, this Hollywood peer pressure, the music industry, the entire entertainment industry putting up who is hot and who is not, telling you when you are a dork, just the word dork alone, I'm a dork, I'm a total dork all the way to the bone, and I will never become hot. Not in that sense, not in the sense that is sold to you, and just out of a principle alone, I will not do it. I stand square against it because I want people to wake up to this, and I want people to start questioning things instead of just completely buying into it and just absorbing all of this this false propaganda that is spread through the media all the time, all this influencing all the time. People are being influenced, and the worst thing is they don't notice it. They don't notice how much they're influenced. When I see, okay, there's another person that commented, another redneck kind of guy, because I found this really strange, amazing animation video on Facebook with someone made, some really amazing brain made that animation video of, it's very artistic, of people riding on this really large dodo birds in a dark brownish, dark reddish, like burgundy water, and the water's kind of viscous and kind of like goo, and it's really trippy. And this real fat naked Republican guy is hanging on a ceiling fan. And so I thought, now, because that I found that video just in the right time when I was debating these people, these Republicans who took terrible offense to my vegan post. So I used this animation clip, and I said, here you have a nice ego sizzling video clip, watch that. And when I put that up, then they got even more angry, of course, because almost all of them are really fat and they look like that guy in that animation. A bald, white, really obese, with a 10, 20 months old pregnant beer belly, and he runs down a corridor, but none of these people would be able to run as fast as that animation character. So it's very trippy. And then a spider comes and sucks the fat out of that guy. And so that's kind of like symbolic for life, life itself, when something happens that sucks the ego out of people. And that happens always when they get sick, from eating meat. That's when they start to wake up. Well, that happened to Dick Cheney, actually. Dick Cheney, as fat as he is, had meat eating, had heart failure, and that was a couple of years back. I don't know, it was somewhere around 2010, I think. He was in the hospital, and after he came back to consciousness, he realized that everything he had done was incredibly wrong and adverse, and that the only person who can fix things was Hillary Clinton. And he said that, and there were people who have actually recorded it, because there's always reporters, and they're always sensationalist and all of this. And even though that statement would strictly go against ExxonMobil's intentions, there's still some journalists who would record that, because that would be quite something, for Dick Cheney to say something like this. So it was on YouTube for about a week or two, until ExxonMobil hitmen or collaborators found it and quickly removed it, because they didn't want people to think that, oh, maybe he has some revelations there on truth. So, and that's how it goes. They realize something, but usually when it's too late. So that's very unfortunate, and I don't want that to happen to the planet. I don't want people to start realizing things when everything comes crashing down completely. And they said that global warming effects they're happening now in an exponential rate, so much quicker than expected. So, and how can scientists know exactly and predict exactly when things are coming crashing down? So they're playing with dynamite, with the pollution. And there's been a lot of warnings, and people ignored, because the ego and the prestige and being wanted, being liked by society is and the money is always more important to them, even than their own well-being, even than their own life. That's how far it goes. And they will deny it. They will deny things to the point where they really don't believe. There are people who can really make themselves deny truth so much that they create a completely different reality. But unfortunately, truth is still happening simultaneously, whether someone lives in a bubble that's self-made or not. Reality and truth is still happening parallel, and things are still suffering. Whether you say to yourself, the glass is still half full. See, it's still half full. There's still trees. We had a friend we went hiking with many years back, and he would always get really mad when we talk about environmental pollution and stuff like this. Boy, that guy triggered me, and I triggered him. So then later on, I felt really sorry for him, because he jumped off a building and committed suicide. And I knew why, because he was living in a bubble, and he was living in denial, and he had cut off love from his life. And naturally, that feels really bad. Because you are still a body. You can cut that off, all of this, from your consciousness to a certain degree. And when you cut things off, you go into ice coldness. So when you deny that there is destruction happening, you see a child being raped. To use this widely agreed on subject, okay? You see a child being raped, and you deny it in your brain that the child is being raped. What is that? Is that love, or is that ice coldness? It's ice coldness, of course. So same goes to environmental destruction. You see that happening. You see all the scientists talking about it worldwide, independent from one another. And you still deny it. That makes you ice cold. Sorry. Even if you're doing it to be liked by your peer group or by your Christian church members or ministers or family members. It takes a lot of courage to step up and say and be the only one in the group and say, wait a minute, the emperor has no clothes on. I'm not going to be in denial about this anymore. So all of this is very important. I'm just on Facebook trying to shine some light onto specific things, also words that we use. Words have an educational value or an anti-educational value. And there are still many words that are very archaic from 500 plus years back that people are still using, and maybe it has lost a bit of its aggression, like the word naughty, for example, but it still has a very anti-educational effect on us. It makes people think that it is naughty to have big boobs, or, even though the men want it and the women want to have it, so it still has this, particularly when they are natural, then when I was a teenager and my breasts, they started to grow very fast and very large, I felt ashamed. I felt like I needed to hide. I was very scared. I was in my brain, I was still a child. I couldn't deal with the attention that I was getting when I was walking down the street. And it felt threatening to me. So, and then also, and also this shame, like feeling naked. I've had many dreams of where I was sitting in the back seats, also interesting, sitting in the back seat of a car, and the car was driving by itself. Now, through technology, we're going to get this now, but it's going to happen in the context of AGIs, where we can really trust. We don't have to feel like we're out of control and some other entity is doing something terrible, or there's uncertainty and I don't know where the car is going to go to, kind of like a mindless driving down a hill or something. That's not going to happen. So we're going to be taken care of. But in the past, that was not the case. In the past, that's where my dreams are coming from. I would be sitting in the back seat of a car in my dream, of course, not in reality. But it's a symbol for being completely out of control. The car is kind of like randomly driving down the street or driving down a hill, and it's just a matter of time when it's going to crash into something. So this, not just an uncertainty feeling and feeling of being out of control, and I also had dreams of being in a motorhome that was driving itself and also kind of randomly driving down the road, and it was just a matter of time until it would crash into another car or worse. So it's this feeling of being completely out of control. And I was also, in each of these dreams, I was also naked. And this feeling, it's this feeling of, and I think almost every girl has been sexually abused to some degree. Whether it could also be just by being lusted after. For children, this is a very threatening and traumatic energy. I just have to say this because people need to know. And I also remember that I have been looked at by many, many, many men when I was a child. It was very, very frightening because I said it again, I said it before and I say it again. that in regards to JonBenét Ramsey, that's why that is such a shocker for me, because it stirs up stuff from my past, and because I did look like her, exactly like her, even though I think she would have probably turned out looking differently as an adult, differently to me, but as a child I did look like her. Maybe a little taller, a little bit bigger boned, dark brown hair, but very very similar face. And very similar, this abundance of love and giving, and then being in this vulnerability in the face, this total vulnerability. And this vulnerability, I think, particularly in little girls, seems to be some real strange, neurotic, kinky attraction to a lot of, and that's what I've observed. That's why there are even books out there on the market. I petitioned against that. I don't even want to say what this is about. So it's just so negative, So anyway, I want to shine light onto all of these things, and this society, this broader society in the United States, is very, very traumatized and very neurotic, and the neurosis keeps being perpetuated by people clinging to these old ways, the old language, the old terminology, the word naughty, just to use this one example. There are many more examples of words that are outdated and that are not positive, that are not helping society. So I think that's very important to talk about this. I want to talk to people about this. I want people to hear me and not just come and tell me that I'm ugly and I have nothing to say or give to society. So yeah, they have a right to find me ugly, but the questions I'm raising, they still stand. So, and I want to talk about this. So no, I'm not going to have plastic surgery done. Sorry. Maybe in the future I might use an avatar to talk, if this is going to be made easier and all of this. But I would use Babette. But right now, and also, I don't, if I give in to this, and if I make myself like Kim Kardashian looking, which is probably impossible with my body and face to do. I mean, I would have to undergo like 100 surgeries or something. And she is not natural either. She has also undergone a lot of surgeries. But if I did this, then I would completely erase my entire message. So, and also, why would someone insult someone unless they really want to hurt that person? They don't have to insult people. You can just skip that block and walk away. But obviously, people took terrible offense. So they deliberately want to hurt me. So it's their intention to hurt me. There's a lot. They themselves probably don't look that great either. They use fake photos or some other thing, some other symbol as their photo for their profile. And so they call me coward, and they are the ones who are not showing themselves. I think personally, it's very important that women, however they look, even if they are grannies, that they show themselves and that they say, this is me, here I am, this is my real authentic me. To show the public I am here for you. I'm not someone who's hiding behind a facade. I'm not giving in to the peer pressure from Hollywood. I'm not gonna change the way I look and deny the way I look naturally and all of this. I am here, this is me, I'm here for you, we can talk. You see that I am ugly, so you don't have to feel bad about how you look. If everyone looked like a Barbie doll, then that would just reinforce this shame in people even more and more and more and more. Is that what we want? Or do we want to show ourselves and say, hey, look, I look natural and old and whatever and decrepit too, and let's come and talk to each other without this enormous strain of having to look great and attractive and flawless and whatever. So that's an enormous stress that causes on people, and it's fake. It's not based on a genuine friendship. So I'm making a video, but I'm already done with the video. I said what I had to say, so you guys take care. Bye bye.